Hi, it's me, Jesse. Thank you so much for deciding to click the link in this email and watch this video. I really appreciate you taking your time, energy, and commitment for a few minutes of listening to me. What I'm about to show you in this video right here is a secret exclusive video that normally would only be available to subscribers of Karate Nerd Insider. That is my weekly private video club. You see, for over 1.5 years, I've been sending out weekly video lessons with high-level advanced stuff that's guaranteed to take your karate to the next level consistently. Because that's one of the hardest things about improving in karate, having a consistent progression. And so, if you like the following sample episode of Karate Nerd Insider, I suggest you sign up right now so you don't keep missing all my weekly episodes. In fact, if you like what you see and you sign up to Karate Nerd Insider, I'm gonna throw in a bonus episode that you missed, which was the previous week's episode, and that was about power generation. But now, enjoy this week's episode of Karate Nerd Insider exclusively for you today. Hey guys, in today's episode of Karate Nerd Insider, I want to talk about your feet. More specifically, your ankles. Because if they are stiff and tight, that can pose a problem for many karate practitioners. See, here's the thing. The human body doesn't really work in isolation. It works in integration. So one part of your body, if it's dysfunctional, will affect the rest of your body. Kind of like, let's say, a t-shirt or my gi. If I pull the fibers down here in the gi, or down here, it affects the fibers, the cotton, in all of the gi, right? And the same goes for the human body. If you have problems with your feet or your ankles, it will then continue upstream throughout the rest of the joints in your body to create these micro compensations. And that might not be a problem in the short term, but in the long term, it could become a problem. So, since everything starts from the feet, I want to go over a couple of exercises for your feet, your ankles, that include both mobilization, mobility, and also some flexibility, right? So, starting from the ground here, the first exercise is just to understand how to articulate 3 very common positions of the foot in karate. So you're going to be lying like this, supporting yourself on your elbows this way, and then start by pulling your toes back and pushing your heel up to the ceiling, all right? If you can, try to have the other leg straight and also flat this way. So you're actively pulling your toes towards your face, because the idea is to simulate kind of the same joint angle in the ankle that you would have if you would be standing up, right? So, because the human body is very specific in its adaptation. So we're trying to mimic how it would look if I would be standing up, even though I'm on the ground. So from here, I practice 3 different positions with that foot. Number 1, number 2, which is the popular maigiri position, and number 3, which is just rolling up the toes, full extension. And then again, 1, and I'm trying to achieve full range of motion here. So I'm actively pulling the toes towards my face. 2, I'm pushing into that maigiri position, and 3. And again, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And it is harder than it looks, because think about it. The foot, out of all your body parts, is the furthest away from your brain. So that brain-body connection is not as strong as opposed to your fingers, your hands, your lips, your mouth. These connections throughout your brain for body parts that you use for communication are very strong. But not for the feet, because we don't communicate with our feet. We move with the feet. So, fine motor control of the foot is the purpose of this first exercise. And it helps if you look at the foot and focus on maximizing the range of motion for each position. So you can start by doing them in order, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 with the foot, but then you can switch up the order. You can have a friend go 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, and that is when it becomes really difficult. Okay, so once you understand how to position your foot, then we can move on with working on some mobilization techniques, because if you have stiff or tight ankles, this can really be a problem, especially in stances. Because a lot of people want to have deep and solid stances, but they can never go down because something is blocking them. And in 9 times out of 10, I believe that it is your ankles. For many people at least. So a good one is this. Find something to support one part of your foot. Something that is a little bit high. It could be a focus pad, or it could be a weight plate or a book, whatever. And then all you do is put the front part of your foot on the object. And then from here, all I do is simply push forward and try to go as far as I can with my knee, this way. If I feel that my heel is coming off of the ground, I have gone too far. That is my maximum. So I try to stay with the heel on the ground. And then I start working throughout this corner of my ankle using a circular motion. So I go internally and externally, just pushing, trying to dig through the full range of motion of my ankle, but without going too far so that the heel comes off of the ground. Switching to the other, and I'm doing this very fast now, but you will probably have to do this at least 2 to 3 minutes or more if you have very stiff ankles. So you go to the front until your heel levitates. Stop there, and then just start doing circles, push internally and externally, and try to go through the corners of your hip and your ankle, because this will hit the hip as well. And it will take, like I said, 2 to 3 or maybe even longer minutes for the tissues to adapt. Right? That's number 1 for mobilization. Next one is something you can do without any object. This is an exercise that starts in the seiza position right here. A lot of people have trouble just sitting like this. The basic standard seated position in Japanese society, right? So, the first thing you do is practice sitting in seiza with the weight back on your heels, which forces my feet to go straight, right? And then try to relax. Don't resist any tension. So I sit in the seiza position. From here, I push my knees and my heels together as I go up on my toes. And then I sit back again. Again, with the weight back on the toes. And strive to have your knees and heels together. This is position number 2. Again, sit back and let your weight sink down back here. And then finally, the last position is that I try to maintain this connection with my knees and heels as I push myself back and sit up here. And now, if I feel a burning sensation on the front of my shin, that's a good sign. From here, I try to apply pressure down. It is almost like a squat position, except that my feet are together. And then I reverse the whole process. I sit on my toes, and then I sit with flat feet again. And just going through those 3 positions is very demanding for your ankles. 1, 2, 3. Pushing down, applying pressure. 2, 1. So what I'm basically doing is I'm doing the 3 first positions that I did before. 1, 2, 3. But now with my added body weight on top. Good. Now, finally, let's talk about your calf. So let's say I'm in a Zenku Tsudachi, okay? Zenku Tsudachi stance. Some people can do a good Zenkutsu without problems. But as soon as they move back to a nekoashi, a cat stance, they get problems. And other people have the opposite problem. They can go into a deep cat stance, but once it's a Zenkutsu, they have problems. Because your calf is not just one muscle. It consists of several parts. And so to practice the flexibility, we're going to try to hit two different parts. The long one, like for a Zenkutsu Dachi, and the short one, the soleus, which is the deeper one. And a good stretch for that is this. You go to a wall, and then you put your foot right there. And now to hit the long calf muscle, I try to push my hip towards the wall. This way. I try to go closer and closer until I can't go closer anymore. Here. Pushing my hip actively towards the wall. That hits the outside here for the long calf muscle. And then the opposite would be this now. Instead of trying to push my hip towards the wall, I instead try to push my knee towards the wall. And that hits the deeper calf muscle, which is where a lot of people have trouble when they try to sink into stances, for example, the cat stance. And of course, this requires a good range of motion in the ankle as well. So it's a two-part problem for many people. You need both ankle mobility, but also calf flexibility. And as we all know, the difference between mobility and flexibility is very important to know. Because mobility refers to your ability to move a joint through its full range of motion. That means it involves an active element of strength as well, as opposed to flexibility, which is just making a muscle longer, basically. And unless your muscle is already too contracted and too short, you don't really need to make it longer, because science confirms that you actually lose explosive power if you stretch too much. So only do, for example, this stretch, either this one with the hip or with the knee, if you actually have short calf muscles. And a good way to test that is with stances, like I said previously. And that's it for today. I hope these ideas, these exercises can help you improve the ability to move your feet and your ankles for all types of stances or techniques. Train hard, good luck, and have fun. So that was this week's episode of Karate Nerd Insider. If you sign up right now, I'm also gonna throw in the previous week's episode just as a bonus for you. And then this will happen. Every single week, you will keep receiving new video lessons straight from me to you. And these videos will never be available to the public. So make sure that you become a Karate Nerd Insider today. Click the link in the email to sign up, and I'll see you on the inside.